And we are live. Welcome back to Conspiranormal, guys. Special live edition, special Strange Realities 2020 edition. And we are with two more of the guests. It was originally supposed to be, presenters and speakers. Originally supposed to be three. I don't know where John Tenney is. Hopefully he'll show up at some point. But we've got Tim Banal. Say hello.
What's up, guys? Hello, everybody.
Aaron Gullius is here
Hi.
as well.
How's it going, guys?
Going very, very well. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you guys too.
Yeah, this is cool.
We've kind of got the Hollywood Squares thing going on, I think.
Yeah,
That's right.
We got the whole like Hollywood Squares action going on here. We got 6 people watching this.
Wow.
This is amazing.
Exciting.
So we are going to talk, guys, just about what you guys are going to present at Strange Realities 2020 online. And I guess we'll start with you, Aaron.
Okay, yeah. Unlike the guys at 8 o'clock, I know what I'm talking about, and I even know the title. So title of my talk is Happy Endings, Triumphalist Conspiracy Narratives Since the End of the Cold War. And basically, this is sort of the topic of the book I'm working on right now, the book project I'm slowly working on. So many times, conspiracy theories, when you think about sort of big overarching conspiracy theories, what sort of comes to your mind is New World Order and FEMA camps and underground bases and global enslavement and Agenda 21 and bad stuff. The end point of all this is really bad, and that's the lever to get people moving, to get people, I don't know, whatever Bill Cooper wanted people to do back in the 90s, probably join a militia or send him money. So what's different, what's sort of looked at less, are conspiracy theories that end well, that say there is an inevitable good thing that's going to happen to those of us who are keeping the faith. It's a conspiracy rapture, if you will, that's coming down the road. So there's a number of angles that I'm looking at. I'm not sure which I'm going to fit into the talk yet. It probably depends on how much work I've got done on each area, but there's going to be some UFO disclosure movement stuff in there. There's going to be NESARA. I'm going to talk about NESARA, and NESARA disclosure, probably some other stuff, he said vaguely, but NESARA and disclosure and things like that. So let me look over at QAnon. Yeah, QAnon. How could I forget QAnon? So
some little obscure thing you guys probably haven't heard of.
Yeah, I had to look over at my dry erase board at chapters. So that kind of thing. So
do you think QAnon's a positive conspiracy theory though? Because I mean,
I think he means positive as in it's going to end in they believe a positive outcome, what they want.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. The bad guys, they're going to Gitmo. They're already there. They're already there. And what you're seeing now are, like body doubles and clones and things like that. Oh, I heard Adam Gorightly is in Gitmo right now. It's very sad.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is. Gorightly's in Gitmo. Of course, his body double said that I'm in Gitmo on Twitter. So it's up to you to decide what the truth is. That's, the point of conspiracy theories, right? So the thing is, with these positive conspiracy theories, there's still, a good deal of negativity to be had, because you've got to go through all kinds of horribleness before you get to the point where, the white knights finally take the castle and make everything better and erase your consumer debt and use alien technology to eliminate hunger and poverty and everything. So there's still some of that negative stuff, still some of that cover-up stuff, and that's usually used to explain why things aren't good yet. Things aren't good because, the bad guys have been doing this, or there's an airliner full of shadowy figures, or whatever the president said in the last couple of days. That was I saw on the news. But
yeah,
yeah,
you know what, man? There's so much that happens all the time that I don't pay attention to a lot. But I saw that briefly this morning, and I was kind of like, I just don't even know if I want to know.
I think, and this is
it's pretty wild. That was pretty wild.
This isn't a political statement. This is just a quote. A fact checker from CNN said it was too dumb to fact check. So, which is sort of one of the nicest sort of low key put downs I've seen in a while. But there's a lot of negativity while we're getting to the positive stuff. So I'm probably this is what I've been working on with the writing. The book stuff the last couple days is looking at the late Sherry Shriner. If you're familiar with her, most people are familiar with her from, if at all, from the Cult show that was on one of the cable networks.
Yeah,
did an episode on her because
she had a feud with you though, right? Didn't she?
Yeah, this was like 15 years ago. She I got into it with her on a message board, and she threatened to dox me and claimed I was possessed by Satan and working for the CIA, which she's half right, but it's I'm not telling you which half, but she somebody was one of her followers and killed somebody else, and she claims that there's reptilians, there's aliens here. The whole Project Bluebeam fake UFO thing is just a plot of the New World Order. But she also had like 3 or 4 websites just about NESARA and how NESARA was actually a scam, but not the scam it really is. NESARA's real scam is that it's the political and economic system of the New World Order. And so NESARA is being used to lull people into a sense of complacency and to get them on board with the aliens who are going to show up. Because some of the NESARA people started talking about ascended masters like Saint Germain that they were getting the information from. And so Shriner said, well, Saint Germain is actually not the Antichrist, but one of the Antichrist's friends. Sananda was the real Antichrist. So she gets into this stuff as well. There's a website, radio, it used to be a radio program. Now I think it's mostly an internet program called the Prophecy Club, which is one of these sort of. I know it's so cheesy, but they've been around forever. They were part of the whole Y2K thing back in the day, and they sort of talk up NESARA and GESARA, which is sort of the new iteration of it, a global economic reset that's going to come. And they sort of waver back and forth about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, depending on who's supporting it and whether or not the guy who runs this organization likes them. I think deep down he doesn't know what it actually is, but he just knows it's a thing. It's the most okay boomer conspiracy show you've ever seen. This guy is like your crazy uncle, and it's fun. So that's sort of what I'm going to be talking about, sort of these conspiracy theories with happy endings for the true believers and the real Americans, and those who are on the right side against the evil, deadly cabal.
It sounds like it's really a lot of these themes are really influenced by just like Bible prophecy and millennial hopes and ideas from this last change we had, and of course when the year 1000 came, also the same ideas.
Yeah, it's a very sort of millennial thing, both in the sort of literal sort of Christian sense of a sort of millennialist eschatology, but also in a sort of just that general theme of there's going to be a time of change, which is sort of a political thing, but also a cultural thing. And never trust people who say they know when the time of change is coming or what it's going to be, because you historian talking here, you can only really recognize it in hindsight. 20 years later, you look back, it's like, oh, that was a huge thing. It's rare that you can sort of sense these changes going on at the time. But everybody thinks they're seeing those changes and that they're on the cutting edge of the change. So it's fun stuff.
Cool. That sounds real fascinating. We're really happy to give that to the people at the Strange Realities Conference.
I'm looking forward to it.
Aaron, would you typify the flat Earth people? nice little segue here, but an
I-
honest question: would you typify them as a
Yeah.
positive conspiracy theory?
I think some of them are. I think some of them are absolutely on the, like, we are winning. Look how many people are believing this. We're opening the public's eyes to the truth about the flat Earth. And I could use that same tone of voice to talk about Q. I could use that same tone of voice to talk about anti-vax stuff. But it's that sort of, we know that in the future, what's going to happen is people are going to awaken to the reality of the flat Earth. And when that happens, everything is going to change. It's that sort of vapid kind of, it's so going to be so great to finally prove all my relatives wrong sort of attitude.
Told you so.
It's like, finally Thanksgiving is going to be on my terms this year. That kind of thing. It just, that sort of, and you sort of have to think about or wonder how many of these people, and not to denigrate them, but how many of these people are sort of, there's a sort of social aspect to this. They fall into these things because this is finally a group of people who thinks they're brilliant, who thinks that they are one of the people who knows the truth. And I've got this whole little community of people who agree with me about this. Which is, everybody wants that, and it's, we all have podcasts and we all enjoy when people tell us that we're good, but the difference is we're not ruining the world. Well, I'm not. Banal maybe, but
I'm doing my best.
But yeah, I think there are some aspects to this with the flat Earth thing. There's we're right. We're going to be vindicated. The day of judgment is coming, and we're going to be on the winning side.
Well, there is something I did want to run by you, Aaron, too.
Yeah.
Something that Tim and I were talking about last night. But actually, let's get to Tim's, because this is going to go straight into what I was wanting to talk about. But Tim, what is your talk going to be about? And we have someone arriving here.
Yeah.
John Tenney.
Hey, there he is. Look, he's like still getting dressed. I like it. All right. So what I'll be talking about is, last year at the Strange Realities Conference, I did my presentation was on the history of the flat Earth theory. So, and then at the end of the presentation, I announced to the audience that in a month from then, I was going down to Dallas for the International Flat Earth Conference. So I did that. And here at Strange Realities too, I'll be just sort of recounting this trip, going down to Dallas. A lot of people don't really know flat earthers. I'd never even met a flat earther. So it was like, if I'm going to write about these people and think about these people, I want to know these people. So, I felt like it was kind of only fair. So I went down there and embedded, really spent the whole weekend with them. A lot of these news outlets and stuff, they just, I was telling the flat earthers at the time, they just come for like a couple hours and like film a couple stand-up interviews and leave. I was there the whole weekend. I was at the bar with them. I was drinking with them. I was eating meals with them. I was like eavesdropping on their conversations. I was finding out kind of like what we all enjoy, all of us who've done conferences, been to conferences, like there's always some little fucking drama, where this guy doesn't like that guy, or this guy, stay away from him. So I was like so in with these people that I had like a pipeline to all sort of the inside track. I got as far behind the curtain as I could get, pretty much. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my observations of these people, and how that's changed since then. Because as I was telling Adam last night on the phone, I came out of it kind of feeling bad for them and thinking like a lot of them are really just misguided. And that still kind of holds.
You're going native, Tim.
Uh-oh, am I breaking up on you?
No, I said don't go native.
What does that mean?
Going native with the flat Earth.
No, believe me. No.
Yeah, you're having sympathy for them.
I did have sympathy for them because, as I'll talk about at the event, like, sort of as a preview, you get bombarded. They get so much hate online that, like, even I, as an observer, was posting pictures to my Twitter Like, here's just a picture of the conference hall. Not like, oh, isn't this great? Yay, flat Earth. And all of a sudden on my Twitter, to this day, I still like randomly get messages from this post I made in November that's like, fuck you, flat Earth is fucking stupid. You're, terrible thing. So don't say the thing. Oh, you guys die and shit. It's like, what? Why? I just posted a picture. So I kind of was like, all right, I can kind of see why these guys are perpetually shit upon. But then all this pandemic happened, and then all of a sudden, all the flat earthers I became friends with became like plandemic people. And I was like, oh, no.
I've heard that observation, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, y'all were so likable till now. Now I don't want to, now you're all being like dicks about masks and shit, and I don't like those people. So I was invited. So I told Adam last night I was invited to Flattoberfest in Greenville, South Carolina in October. No masks required
they made a point of that.
Yes,
too.
That's the selling point is no masks required. So I will not be attending, unfortunately, Flattoberfest.
Tim, not to talk about the good old days and stuff, but I went to a UFO con in the early 90s, and the best thing about that UFO con was watching the flat earthers and the hollow earthers fucking fight with each other.
That would be amazing.
It was brilliant.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna. That's what some of the stuff, like some of the interesting stuff. I'll get deeper into it at the SRC online is which is crazy. I think Aaron and John. I think you guys have been in this for a long time. Like all these people, like to a man, to a lady, all of them had just gotten into this in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
like they had no. They just woke up to the flat Earth, and they were into the flat Earth, and they weren't into anything else. It was like, what the fuck?
That's a lot like QAnon. Yeah, it's a lot like QAnon or this pandemic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they got hooked up through YouTube, so it's all kind of connected. And they had no understanding of like if you watch 5 more back, you'll know more about the history of the flat Earth than anybody who was in Dallas, aside from me. So, like, nobody knew who any of these people were that started this. No one knew where it came from. No one knew how it evolved from 1860 up to today. They had no fucking idea about any of that stuff. And I was like, what? This is crazy. So that's it. I'm going to talk about that, talk about what the people were like, share some really wild stories that I want to tell them now, but I'm holding them back for the presentation because,
sure.
We want to get people to come. But the wild stories, unlike anything I'd seen at a paranormal event, just some strange stuff and funny stuff, and so cool. I think people will really enjoy it.
So my question, and John, feel free to step in on this too. But so a friend of mine yesterday, about a week ago, sent me this video of these younger guys they interview the people at these conventions, I guess. They interview what they consider nutcases. And they were interviewing these people at the Flat Earth conference. One of them was the guy with the hat that you told me about, Tim.
Yeah, the top hat guy. I'll remember his name by the time. Yeah, I'll remember his. I have like a 5-minute interview with him. I might run on the.
So did you get a chance? Did you get a chance to watch that video?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched just the beginning of it.
Well, so towards the end of the video, it started getting like really ugly.
Ago.
And
I've seen it a while ago.
Yeah, it started getting like really, really ugly, and it started getting into like anti-Semitism. Like they were saying like the Jews are behind this, and like it's the Rothschilds and all this kind of stuff. And I was really kind of like taken aback because like, well, I should have expected it, but I actually didn't from that crowd. And it was but then it was interesting to me that was actually a part of it, even though it's just disgusting. But Aaron, what do you where do you think that like stems into flat Earth? It's like it's every conspiracy theory mashed together.
I think anti-Semitism is is the original OG
Yeah.
Western conspiracy theory, and
It's always just a stone's throw
gets
away.
worked into everything. It really does. Whether it's from the socioeconomic, political standpoint, or the religious, cultural standpoint, or the nationalistic standpoint, you've got these three sort of vectors of anti-Semitism that come in, and the religious one going back, and the economic one too, going back to the Middle Ages and beyond, and then the sort of nationalistic stuff in the late 19th and early 20th centuries sort of emerging. It's so pervasive among those who delve deeply into conspiracy theory that it's going to show up at some point. It's not if, it's when.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
I posted a thing on Twitter today about my parents live with me, and so I try and watch non-provocative stuff, things. My mom has dementia, things that'll keep her calm and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were watching Little House on the Prairie, and it was about the Jewish man who lives in towns, and if the kids can get his hat off because Jews have horns. And
What?
yeah, on an episode
Holy
of
shit.
Little House on the Prairie. And I was thinking to myself, I watched it, I was like, oh shit, like I can't escape hatred anywhere. And I started realizing, like, Aaron, you were just saying, like, that's one of the things that underlies a lot of these conspiracy theories is there's this even religious, deep-rooted belief that there's a group of people who are the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're helping out their own community, and they're not helping out ours. Like there's this weird like mindset in Christian evangelicism, like if you're not like if you've not like been awash in the blood of the Lamb, like you are of the devil. And it even leaks through into shit like Little House on the Prairie. Like it was unbelievable. They're scaring kids on the episode. They're scaring kids by running around with deer antlers, like pretending that they're the devil horns on the guy's head. It's crazy.
I swear I remember this one from when I was a kid. Yeah.
Then of course it's Little House. So what happens, at the end is the old Jewish man explains all their customs and why they wear a hat, so that they're recognized that something is always above them. And, I think Paul Ingalls ends up sitting Shiva with the guy when he dies. Mm-hmm. But still, like the idea of, yes, that was what the world was like back then, and it hasn't changed at all.
Right.
That's pretty wild.
We've just moved it into different
now
areas.
They're just reptilians from outer space. They're not the devil anymore. They're still horned-tailed creatures.
Right. And the people who say, well, the reptilian thing, that's not anti-Semitic, is like, just read it.
Right.
It's like if you're fingering the Rothschilds, you're pretty much all the way down that road, David Icke. So it's been there. It's been there for 2,000 years. So and longer. I mean, if you look in pre-Christian times, if you look at the Babylonian captivity and the Neo-Assyrians coming in, from the moment that that the Jewish people were sort of destated, originally, there've been this sort of movable population, and then after that time, under the one group, the Seleucids, then the Herodian dynasty under the Romans. There's always the political zealots who sort of fought against Rome, resented the Jewish leadership, who they saw as collaborators. There's always been this sense that there's this core group of people in power who are keeping the rest of us down, even within that own community, that sort of division within that community. So there's a lot. I mean, it goes back a long way.
It goes back a long way, and some of that stuff can be traced too, because you have a religion that runs, so you have pre-Hebrew and pre-Judaic religions that are basically lunar cults, because they're based around a lunar mother. And so you have, holidays beginning at sundown, and you have Moses with horns because it's the crescent moon, being over his head. You have like all of that stuff. And so when you have all these solar deities that have been embedded in people for so long, and then all of a sudden you have a group of people who are worshiping the opposite or seeming to worship the opposite, they must be the devil.
Right.
Well, not to mention just the history of where Western occultism really came from, and how much of a large influence they had in that. So if you are in this anti-occultist framework, then it's not hard they start pointing the fingers at those communities.
Yeah.
I was surprised when Adam told me about that last night, because I can say honestly, I didn't hear any anti-Semitism from the flat earthers, but I heard a lot of other questionable takes on things. There was a lot of like there was an air. Let's say that. I won't say a lot of. There was an air of homophobia and there was a surprising amount of transphobia, which really struck me as like, what a really like specific thing to be like, because like in different group, like 2 or 3 different places, I heard like transphobic comments. I'm like, what a weird hang up for your flat earthers. Like, I guess it makes perfect sense. Like, I don't know, but it's like so really specific. I'm like, why are you so, you think the world is flat and you're really upset about transgender people? It's like the two circles there are like really the Venn diagram of that's where you find
it seems like it's this big melting pot of just about everything. Because like because there is that real religious fundamentalist aspect to all this of just like, well, we got to really get back to the Bible, and to get back to the Bible, obviously the Bible says the earth is flat, apparently, according to them.
Right.
So like that makes them.
Yeah, it's a lot of young earthers too, right?
Yeah.
Like
right.
6,000 years. Yeah.
And well, that's what I described them as. They're like OG creationists. They're so to steal kind of Aaron's thing. They're like they're so dedicated to the book that they even think the creationists like sold out. They're like, like, oh, you don't think the fucking world is round, then you're not a real creationist.
Right.
We go right down to the letter, man. We're right down to the flat Earth. So yeah, that's kind of their perspective.
Hey Tim, I think I can solve your Venn diagram issue with the transphobia and the flat Earth stuff, because it's all about opposition to what they feel is an agenda being pushed on them by elites.
Yep.
And that
makes sense.
That's what, whether it's the nature of the earth or whether it's gender and sexuality. This is something new, something different, something that's not from here, something, and to go all 1920s, something that's from the city and not from here in the countryside where real people live.
Well,
so
that's definitely the vibe. Yeah,
there's an economic part of that too, which no one ever discusses, which is, you have that idea of elites are in control of everything. These elites can do all these things that I can't do. They're so elevated above me. And I was talking to a couple of friends of mine, and Barry and Bill, and we were talking about like homosexuality and how it's perceived, and Bill and Barry were like, well, everyone thinks that we're elitist because we have money, because we don't have kids. We're 2 white men making what 2 white men make in business, and we don't spend it on kids, so we have tons of extra income, and so gay men always seem to be affluent, and people resent that. And I had never thought about it.
That makes sense. I've heard that from friends of mine, that there's this along with the usual stereotypes of being very sort of well put together and stylish,
right,
and things that sort of say, I've got the money and the time to invest in my appearance and in my lifestyle and everything like that, when really people are just people. Everybody's got student loans. You get up to a certain level, it's like you still got the same student loans as the hetero couple with 5 kids. So
it's kind of taking it a little bit back to QAnon. One of the things that we've noticed a little bit, kind of like our own discussions, has been like a lot of the focus on the kind of like the pedophile ring and all that. Now, I mean, that's essentially, like you were talking about the OG conspiracy theory. That is essentially part of the OG conspiracy theory, because that's essentially blood libel.
You got blood libel. You got the McMartin preschool thing. You've got Satanic Panic. You got Geraldo, and you've got it all sort of multiplied through social media. I saw this on the Facebook page of a young person I am acquainted with, who always seemed very sensible to me, and it was a fundraiser for an organization that was fighting human trafficking. And I was like, oh, well, that's that's something that you see. But then I read it, and I got down to like the 3rd paragraph, and it was something like, we have a team of former intelligence and military operatives and special operations people who are concentrating on freeing these children. I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's QAnon. It's like we're freeing the mole children under Central Park. This isn't actually fighting, human trafficking. Like, we're working in cooperation with actual law enforcement agents. No, we got James Bond's retired cousin who's, helping get the kids out of the bunker or something. And I was gonna I'm going to start a fight over this. And that's like, no, I'm not. I'm sometimes you realize that my emotional energy is not as well spent trying to correct every wrong person that I know. But the whole Wayfair thing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Just sort of, it blew my mind when I saw people I know, like actual in real life, believe this, because this is something that you're it's sort of a meme. You sort of think that this is something that people say people believe, but nobody actually believes it because it's so stupid. But then you say, like, you know what? I watched this YouTube video by this guy about this Wayfair thing, about how people are trafficking children by purchasing these massively overpriced things. And, it's, I don't know if it's true, but I think it's worth paying attention to. And it's like, it's not. It's not. And to bring it back to, my sociologist friends would love me for this, to bring it back to class a little bit, the whole Wayfair conspiracy, it also sort of, there's a little bit of, I can't believe people pay this much for stuff,
right?
In it too, because Wayfair a lot of it's stupidly expensive, but some of it is like, no, that's what you're going to pay anywhere but Walmart, and so there's also a little bit like, well, I would never buy anything from this site, but it must be for something, but I don't know anybody who buys anything from here, so it must be for these other people. And what are they up to? Because they're different from me and they think they're better than me. They think they're better than me, and they think they're smarter than me. And that's always been an aspect of conspiracy culture, this sort of class insecurity and status consciousness and sort of acting out about that. But I think social media makes it much more widespread and awful and visceral than it might be. And it touches people who wouldn't have been touched by this stuff back in the 90s.
We all got into all this stuff. Is so fringe.
I mean, not to get all, get off my lawn, but does anybody read a damn book anymore? I mean, it's all the fucking YouTube. And I bought a couple books that were about Nasara for this book project I'm working on. I was like, oh, Nasara books, awesome. I can, primary sources. I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure 90% of it is just transcribed YouTube stuff. It's just a YouTube narration that somebody self-published. And I'm just like,
it's going to be on YouTube, so just wait for those comments.
And I mean, I love you, YouTubers. You're
it already is on YouTube.
YouTube people are for the global pedophile elite.
Oh gosh, I don't care if you get your information from YouTube, but double check it against something, that somebody. I was going to say put some time into.
One of my friends who's a conspiracy guy. He orders like everything and tries to stay current on everything. And he showed me this book that he had ordered off Amazon, which was a QAnon book, and it was called I'll have to find the name and send you guys the links. But you can't sample it. Like the sample pages are just photographs online, so you can't really read the book. Mm-hmm. But what's interesting is it's called the development / maze recovered or something like that in QAnon, right? And it's like 450 pages, and it's literally someone took from Project Gutenberg, public domain communist books, and republished them and circled certain words and just put that out as a book.
I got to do that. I can make some money with that.
And it sells, and people buy it, and they're like, "Oh, look, that word is circled, and it's on page 13 and 13. If you go to page 31, if you invert it, it's the same word is circled." And the 31st of the month, this happened, and I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just a giant lark.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, just getting the information from that's the biggest thing that you see now. It's just that's where people get all their information from is is YouTube or Facebook, and it's like the memes and the hashtags. I mean, like the Save the Children hashtag was basically a legitimate hashtag that got hijacked essentially.
Yep.
And the Wayfair thing, the real conspiracy theorist in me makes me think that just like that could have been some kind of maybe industrial sabotage. Because I mean, if like to compete, like a competing company with Wayfair could have been like, go start a rumor that they're shipping children in these overpriced cabinets.
Yeah. It's freaking IKEA, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, IKEA's got their own operation. All these Swedish kids are being shipped places. So.
Oh, okay.
Because all those items have names, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. But people were just like,
really what you end up getting is Chinese seed packets.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't you get some of those, Sergio? Didn't you get some Chinese seed packets?
I've got a few bags of them. Yeah.
Real story here. My wife was like sent me what she does is like she texts me like 18 Amazon links and says buy this, So I one of them was like some zinnia seeds that she wanted for her flower bed, and I was like, I ordered them. Like, okay. She's like, hey, where are those zinnia seeds? Like, oh, let me check. It's like, honey, did you know those were being shipped from Vietnam? And so we were like, we're never getting those. She's like, that's why they were 50 cents. So finally, 3 months later, they show up right when all of this Chinese seed stuff is happening. And I'm like, so we ordered these, so I think it's legit, but also Vietnam is not China, but geopolitical alliances, regional politics, is this a Chinese seed thing? And she said, it doesn't matter. It's too late to plant them anyway. Throw them out. So I think we're okay. But I'll let you know.
Like,
I'll let you know
if the people that actually bought seeds from Amazon.
If the Triffids show up,
So, John, let's get to you. What is your presentation going to be about at the Strange Realities Conference? It's a really cryptic name.
So I mean, it's going to be something like this. It's going to be one of the things that I've been so fascinated with watching this over. I mean, it's so strange to think that in 1990 I gave my first lecture on the Kennedy assassination. Like, it's so strange to think that was over 30 years ago. Like, it just blows my mind. And, we always talk about people in our community that are somewhat mentally stable, how much fun it used to be, and how now it's really actually pretty terrible. And like, there's terror and real horror around like every corner because people aren't using this as a mechanism to do mental gymnastics to strengthen their brain. They're using it as a supplement for actually thinking and creating well-formed opinions and ideas. So I wanted to do a lecture about like how when you dive into conspiracy theories, whether you are left or right or middle ground, by believing in them, you all eventually will end up back in the same place. Very much like whether or not you want to love Big Brother, like Winston does at the end of 1984. He tries, he struggles, he does everything that he thinks he should do to fight against the system and fight against the conspiracies in his own mind and in society. And yet at the end, like, he truly loves Big Brother. Like, he does. He's accepted the fact that this is the way the world is. And for me, one of the things I want to talk about is like, not that you end up going crazy. And when I say we all come back together, I mean that hopefully you realize that these things are conspiracy theories and that they are meant to strengthen your brain, to strengthen your understanding, to create a larger community with people, to construct new ideas with the people around you. That's where you can get, whether you start at the right or the left or the middle. If you think about these things all the time, honestly, and you discuss them honestly, you find that it is enjoyable and that you do love it, that it's not something that's horrible and terrible. That's the people on either side. And if they were honestly able to think about it, like, how did this conspiracy start? Where does it come from? Where does it lead us? How can it change me into a better person? Not how can that conspiracy that knowledge and that truth that I think that I've found, how can I use that to change the world around me? How can we together change the world around us? Because that's what has really fallen out of conspiracy theories. When I jokingly, when I was talking about like the hollow earthers and the flat earthers fighting with each other, like they did, and it was great to watch and it was a lot of fun. But in a true convention format, on Friday and Saturday nights, we were all still drinking with each other and hanging out and smoking, and everybody got along, and nobody was accusing anybody of being involved in the Jewish cabal or raping children or eating children or adrenochrome freaks. Like we laughed about how crazy it was that we were thinking about this thing, you know, and we loved it. And that has been lost. There's no love and fun in the conspiracy community anymore. It's hatred, evil, and, you know, either sideism, and I cannot stand it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the long, convoluted way of saying I'm going to talk about how you can use conspiracy theories to make the world a better place.
Hey,
Nice.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
If you are the funny part is, it's like if you're in. Well, I mean, I think that this Q thing's more of a cult, but it's like I notice this with the flat Earth people too. It's like if you're in the cult, they're all around each other. That's when they are kind of like they're like blissed out. They're like super blissed out. Like if you watch them on Twitter and shit, when they're talking to each other, they're like boosting each other up all the time, and they're like. And the sad part is, if you read some of the comments, it's always a lot of times it's like, my whole family fucking abandoned me because I'm a Q head. But you're my new family now.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, dude, that's so creepy.
The
That is
thing
so
that's
creepy.
But you know what? The thing that's interesting is that with adults that have gotten involved with like QAnon, right? They're sociologically, psychologically, right? Like they are still able to, as an adult person, that I'm going to make some assumptions here on adult people, but on adult people eventually get bored of stuff. They get bored, right? And so like adults who are so fucking into this and it's just they've got nothing else to do right now, right? Like this is full speed ahead, right? If the world ever comes back to a place where it's like normal-ish, where people are going to jobs and trying to get coffees and filling out job applications, like you'll get bored of thinking of Q. Like that's what happens with adult people. You get bored of your hobby. Even your hobby that you love, you get bored of. The problem is that they are indoctrinating young kids into this. And then it becomes like religion because becomes almost impossible to break away from. If you're raised as a child with it, it's deeply embedded in all those formative folds in your brain. And that's where it's really problematic.
Well, like you said, the pandemic is really a non-specific amplifier for all this stuff right now. Eric Davis has been talking a lot about that. He wrote that High Weirdness book about Robert Anton Wilson, Dick, and Terrence McKenna, I think. And he wrote a blog recently on his website that's talking about the idea of Chapel Perilous and getting in conspiracy theory, breaking with consensus reality, being this initiatory experience, and that perhaps during this pandemic right now, with the popularization of all these conspiracy theories, like our society as a whole is going through Chapel Perilous. But the prescription for that is that kind of that agnosticism that Wilson talks about, using conspiracy as a game and embracing synchronicity, but not turning into a true believer, using radical doubt and keeping your doubt and not just jumping to some other conclusion, that seems like, similar to what you're saying. And I think it's the only way we can probably like save some of the better elements of this culture that we're all part of.
The biggest problem is, I agree completely with you. The biggest problem is that Chapel Perilous is fucking perilous. Like, it's for a reason, man. Like, you lose your fucking mind, and the watchers at the gate, like, they don't want to fucking let you through, and you don't know if they're there to help you or hurt you, and it gets pretty fucking dicey. And I mean, for these kind of metaphysical, occult, philosophical like discussions, like, honestly, and I mean, generalizing, like, fucking America is not ready for that kind of philosophical discussion.
Yeah.
No.
Like
Yeah.
we were not, as a country, we were not raised to understand Chapel Perilous and
Yeah.
deep rooted philosophies of the mind. Like my parents, living with them, I watch my mom with her dementia. And the thing that's unbelievable to me is that the only thing that she ever really remembers is money. Where's my money? And do I have to go to work? Like that's what's so deeply embedded in her brain. That's the thing that doesn't go away. Sometimes she doesn't remember who I am, but she wakes up every morning asking if she has to go to work.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
How fucking terrible as a society that's the way that people have become programmed.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
and
pretty
now
wild.
that this is disrupting it, all these people have a lot of time they didn't have.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the thing. And Aaron mentioned this, and I'm really interested to know how many other of you guys have experienced this. I try to avoid Facebook because it's just like awful. But obviously, I accumulated a lot of friends from like high school and shit, and college, mostly high school. But the point being that like what really blew my mind was like people I knew were getting indoctrinated into this. Where it was like, these were just people that I was kind of knew following on the fringes through Twitter. I mostly stay on Twitter nowadays. So that's where I follow a lot of QAnon watchdog accounts like Travis View and a few of those other folks. So that's where I see like complete strangers who are really mixed up in this stuff. But then I go on Facebook and it's like a woman I went to high school with. And another person I knew from when I was in like 2 or 3 or 4 people I went to high school with, like sharing like Plandemic and sharing that Save the Children thing. And I'm like, I know this person. And like one of them, it was like I hadn't checked in on her in a while, and I was like, her thing came up, and I was like, what the hell? And like I went to the page, and it was crazy because you could like trace it back. You can look at people's timelines on their page. You like go back to like February, March. All of a sudden, it was like this switch went off, and it was just this flood of fucking Q Plandemic shit. Like as soon as the lockdown started, and it was like, oh, she lost her fucking mind, dude. This is crazy. And I really like, because I like to troll people. Like I'm a lighthearted social media troll. So like, I really wanted to just post like, hey, Susan. We'll say it's not her name, but hey, Susan. I just wanted to know, like, when the fuck did you lose your mind? Like, what the fuck happened to you? Like, seriously, I literally, like, I wouldn't call myself a professional conspiracy theorist, but like, I'm a professional in the world of conspiracy. Listen to me. You're fucking crazy. This is not like the avenue you want to go down. Please trust me. I've been studying conspiracy theory for like a decade plus. Just don't do this. But you don't want to get involved because they're already so indoctrinated and so they're such true believers. Like Aaron was saying.
Well, yeah,
like,
it's
and
a
I've especially
spiritual
come to
thing.
this
It's not
point
even you
now
can't
with
even
social media,
rationalize with them.
where I'm just like, I'm not going to change their mind. So I'm just
Yeah.
not going to do it. And I'm not going to engage these people because it's just going to be a huge waste of time. So, but yeah, I've noticed people I know, that's the scariest part. People I know becoming, because that's when it's like, this is really fucking getting big.
What I was gonna say is sort of going back to what John was saying about how the young people are being sort of acculturated to this stuff coming up. It's like kids who are raised in a religious tradition, regardless of what that religious tradition is, there usually comes a point where they either there's sort of 3 pathways. One is like they run screaming away from it when they can. The other is they sort of lockstep, just don't think about it, just keep doing that. And the third is they sort of step away, or sort of off to the side and say, I think this is what I believe. This is sort of, yes, I'm okay with this. And I've looked at other things and I've thought about it on my own. Sort of going back to what my talk is going to be about with sort of the sort of positive sort of rapture-like conspiracy theories that are out there. I don't think we've had another time where so many conspiracy theories like the sort of hardcore UFO disclosure and QAnon and NESARA type stuff. I don't think we've had as many sort of almost salvation-oriented conspiracy theories. So they're much more like traditional salvation-oriented religions, as more so than they used to be. I mean, nobody's gonna fewer people are going to just like go all in on, yep, going to haul me off to a FEMA camp, just might as well lean into it. But if, they're going to cancel out all my student loans and all my credit cards, and the bad guys are finally going to Gitmo and everything's going to be fine, I can believe in this. And this is a heaven that I can experience without dying. And I just got to hold on until it happens. I mean, we're already partway there with all the great people that are in office and in power right now. And they're going to clean things up, and everything is going to be fine. Everything is finally going to be fine for people like me. Regular, ordinary, working Americans, real Americans. That's always the telling phrase is real Americans. Like, real Americans where? Detroit, they're real. Flint, they're real. We're real over here. Yeah,
it's utopia.
Well, it's an interesting. Sorry to interrupt, Aaron, but you were saying it's interesting because I don't know if I talked about this with you, John, or someone else on my show this summer. But what you're describing, in a sense, connects kind of to like something I've been complaining about with the please forgive me, UFO world, because where it's like I was saying, it's like back in the day, people were like, I'm a UFO researcher. They actually did research. Now it's just like, UFO world, they just fucking react. That's it. They just react to what's happening. And that is almost the case too with the Q stuff, where it's like they just wait for the latest Q drop. They just wait to be told what to think, instead of like actually researching anything. And it must be something with the culture in general, or maybe it's through social media or what. But it seems like UFO world, Q, all this stuff, it's like the main modus operandi of the rank and file followers of these stories is to react and process information they're given rather than actually like do actual research. And it's funny because the Q people are all like, we're a research group. It's like no one fucking researches anything. A handful of you guys do, and then you put it out to these people, and then they consume it. But it's like most of the people are just reacting.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the things, and with UFO, like saying that UFO people used to like research it, like even if they didn't research it, I think about like Helen and Bryant Reeve, right? Who were this husband and wife, and they were like, oh, we love UFOs, we love contactees. Let's take a road trip all around the United States and meet them and talk to them.
Yeah.
Like, we're not researchers, but let's go and talk to them instead of just reading their books. And then they drove around the country and talked to all the contactees. Like, no one does stuff like that anymore,
Yeah. And well, I think part of the reason is the nature of the experiencer has changed, and sort of the experiencer that gets the attention now. It's not so much the abductee or even the abduction researcher or the contactee. It's the person who says they have some sort of connection to the official world that they can't tell you about, but I will dribble out information to you, and you need to trust me. And no, I won't answer your questions, and no, I won't talk to you, because you need to watch my show on the History Channel
and buy my book.
And come to my talk where I will not take questions. And I will be standing here in my bulletproof vest and my goatee, and I will be, telling you about the 5 different jobs I may or may not have had at the Pentagon. So it's
or if you're Stephen Greer, lock everybody in the room and make them listen to your lecture.
Oh man, it's not too different from some of the evangelical glory barn churches. We're going to lock the doors and take the collection until we get enough. Then you can all go home. It's that sort of thing. Yeah.
Aaron, I don't mean to press somebody else's stuff, but I saw someone post on Twitter today, and I commented back. Have any or all of you, or one or two of you, have any of you seen the John was trying to contact aliens on Netflix?
Yes,
I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it yet, but I know
of it.
Okay,
it's making me regret canceling Netflix last week. But
it's about John Shepard, who lives in Michigan. He lives up near Traverse City. And back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, he built a giant radio station, and he just broadcast music into space. Like he wasn't trying to make contact with aliens. Like he was literally playing like Kraftwerk for the aliens, like broadcasting out into space. And it's just this it's a 16-minute documentary. It's a documentary short.
Nice, I'll check it out tonight.
And I saw someone comment on Twitter, because at the end of spoilers, sorry for this for all of you. Spoilers, he never contacts aliens, but you realize the kind of Shyamalan twist at the end is you realize that he's a gay man and he has found his life partner up in Traverse City, and they listen to music together, and it kind of ends with him saying, I've made contact, right? And it's this really beautiful UFO documentary. It has nothing to do with UFOs. And I saw someone on Twitter say, I just watched this, UFO people beware, it's a waste of your time. And I commented back, I was like, this is exactly the type of documentary that the UFO community needs right now. Because it's not a person proclaiming to have all of the information that they can't tell us right now. It's someone saying, look at my interest in UFOs that made my life better and helped me make another person's life better. Like, it's a beautiful thing that we need to see right now. And the fact that the UFO community is like, it's this documentary about this gay guy and he was trying to talk to aliens. I'm like, it makes me so fucking mad.
It's like a documentary like Farewell Good Brothers from back in the 90s. Were there when they probably the last time some of these were seen a lot. We're seen alive. That sounds grim. We're filmed and interviewed. But you watch it and this is a slice not just of UFO history. This is a slice of Americana. This is a slice of sort of outsider art. It's people's lives that they've like the Mengers, this whole soap opera. It's a soap opera. The Menger story should be an HBO series. It should be. Absolutely. I'll write it. I'll get my union card. I'll do whatever it takes. I will write the series. But in something like that today, it would just be. You'd have sort of the hardcore sort of career skeptics on the one side saying, well, we all know that the contactees were liars and scammers and grifters. And then on the other side, be like, well, I didn't think there was really enough about the reality of the aliens and what we know about the aliens. And, lost in all of this would be, here are, 8, 10 interesting stories about interesting people and their lives and their beliefs and how they saw the world around them. And you're so blinded by your anti-UFO-ness or your pro-UFO cover-upness that you can't see like the reality of what this phenomenon is, which is individual experiences and how people have dealt with these experiences and expressed them and how that's affected the culture around them. And I think
how whether or not that they were true, the brothers, the Space Brothers, whether or not they were real, preached all the same thing, which was try and get along.
Right.
The world is very precious.
Right.
Work with each other. That's why I like Buck Nelson so much. His story is so crazy, but it's so beautiful. It's this lonely man who all of a sudden has friends and is holding UFO conferences and people are talking and laughing and commiserating. And he's building what the Space Brothers, were preaching.
Yes.
He's built a community.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned Buck Nelson because that came up in the first segment too with Buck Nelson.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it did.
Not in a good light though.
Hey, Bo the dog is awesome. There's a dog named Bo in it. Everybody shut up. It's awesome.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Bo was the dog and little Bucky was the spaceman.
Little Bucky is the spaceman.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Guys, thank you. Go ahead, John.
I have an original copy of Buck Nelson's book. I have 3.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice. If anybody wants one, I'll think of a number now between 1 and 10. If you want to play the game, make your number guess now.
6.
7.
4.
2.
It was 8.
Oh shoot! That was what I was gonna say.
Tim, is that you? Are you highest?
Who was highest? Guess, yeah. I was 7. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Tim gets Buck Nelson's book.
All right.
Hey. Awesome. Hey, Tim, wasn't there a surprise?
Yes. All right. Yeah, I was going to mention that before we wrapped it up. Aaron will appreciate this. In true pro wrestling form, we want people to tune in to the big Strange Realities conference the end of September, 25th, 26th, 27th. And I was asking you, that's why I was bothering you about when we're going to do these group chats. What I was talking about with you last night, Adam, was like one of the things I really loved last year, and I do love about these conferences, is the hangout. And especially like the downtime, and Aaron experienced this too when we were in Canada. and John too when we were in Portland. So I've hung out with all you guys at different conferences. But I really just loved we would go to like grocery stores a couple of times with Aaron and you guys at Spirit Normal. We went to the grocery store to pick up shit. So and it's always kind of find weird stuff. So I was at the grocery store a while ago and I got these, and we're not opening them tonight. We're going to open them at the Strange Reality Conference. This blew my mind, and I'm really interested in what this might be. Okay, this is Captain Crunch Smart Food Popcorn. Yeah, I know, right? There you go.
That's messed up.
Crunch berries.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's Smart Food. There we go. Okay, Smart Food Captain Crunch Berries Popcorn Mix. And I don't know I think they put Crunch Berries in with the regular Smart Food. I don't think it's like Captain Crunch Berry Smart Food flavor, but this was on a display right at the end of the aisle when I was checking out, and I'm like,
"What the hell's going on in Massachusetts, Tim? What's going on out there?"
It's legalization, I think, has led to that.
This is grim.
You can see it's a limited time flavor. So I got a bag, and we're gonna open it when we do one of the group chats over Strange Realities Conference. And I'll open those up. Nice. At the event.
You're a test market, and because you bought that, this is going to roll out all across the damn country. It's
you'll
like
have me to thank for it.
You see. By the way, you can all thank me because when I was in high school and they test marketed strawberry Pepsi in my town, I encouraged people to avoid it at all costs because what the hell. You have me to thank for the lack of strawberry Pepsi in your lives, but. Now we're going to have Captain Crunch flavored popcorn because of Banal here. And
I just talked about on Twitter. I gave a thumbs down to someone had me try a hot dog water martini.
Yeah, I saw you mention something like that. Yeah.
So you take the water that you boil a hot dog in and add gin to it. It's not great.
No.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
So, John, was that up to the was that offered to the YouTube audience too?
Oh, is there a YouTube audience?
There is a YouTube audience, and Dave Altman says that he guessed 7. He must have popped in.
I had 8 was my number. No one guessed 8. And Tim, I already promised it to Tim.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, no. Looks like
what happened to Sophia?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. He dropped.
He's gone.
Well, guy, yeah. I hope not. He'll be back.
I'm sure he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully nothing happened in Nashville. And so okay, we'll go down the line, guys. I'll start with you, Aaron. Where can people find you? Get in touch, all that good stuff.
You can find me at saucerlife.com or on Twitter at saucerlife. Anywhere you find podcasts, 2 or 3 places you can't. If you're watching this live in the group on Facebook, the new episode tomorrow, a Zine Scene episode where we look at Stuart Miller's 4 issues of Alien Worlds magazine from 2008.
I remember that.
It was great. It was $11 an issue and worth every penny because he couldn't sell any ads. So there are no ads in the whole thing, which is also why it only lasted 4 issues. But it was a good magazine. So we take a look at that. It's a shorter episode because meetings start this week and classes start next week, and I've got no time. So it's a shorter episode, but not short. It's like half an hour, which is enough. It's enough.
All right. And Tim?
You want to find my stuff at Banal of America. It's BINNALL of America.com. We just posted an episode I cannot recommend enough with Allison Jornlin.
It's good.
Where we dissect this Chicago Mothman story that is really a lot of BS.
I listened to a little bit of it today, actually.
Yeah, and I actually had somebody mention, like when I posted it at first, they were like, I don't know if I even believe this story. A lot of people in the paranormal won't believe this story for good reason. And if you listen to this show, you'll understand why, and your misgivings will be pretty much confirmed by listening to what Allison has picked up. And shockingly, I said to Allison, it feels like a Coen Brothers movie. The reaction once she got to the bottom of the Chicago Mothman, what happened to her after that? With the Mothman boys. And then this coming Friday night, the Conspiranormal folks will definitely want to tune in. Friday night, 9 p.m., we're going to have Adam and Sir Phil on to talk about Strange Realities, and just other stuff. You know, I don't know. I promise the listeners, it's not going to be like an infomercial. It'll be a conversation just like tonight here. You know, a real conversation, not just like let's go down the list of speakers. So it'll be a genuine interview, and it'll be a lot of fun. So that's 9 to 11 on Friday night. September 4th. So yeah, tune in for that. And it's Binnall of America, Binnall of America. And follow me on Twitter if you want. I'm really active on there. Binnall, Binnall.
Okay. And Mr. Tenney.
Weirdlectures.com. Everything, all my social media is John E.L. Tenney. I tell people all the time, you can just go to Google and type Tenney, Tenney, and weirdo, and then follow any trail it leads you to.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Stay with us here. I'm just going to take you off the stream for a little bit. And Sir Phil and I can go ahead and just close the show here. And I'll bring you back in after that. All right, man. Are you there?
I'm froze.
You're froze? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you just fine.
Cool. You've just got my
Okay.
froze
Yeah.
face there.
I just got your audio. There you are.
Hey.
All right, so let's go ahead and finish this up. We'll just tell everybody real quick, guys. Please, you can see down there at the ticker at the bottom of the screen, www.strangerealitiesconference.com. We are selling tickets. They are going for $20 online, and tickets are selling quick, guys. So please go and get those. We are going to be streaming to a private Facebook account that when you sign up, you will need to get onto. We can't stress that enough. Patreon is there, Conspiranormal, Patreon/Conspiranormal. We've got some great stuff up there, especially a couple of extra interviews with the Pennyroyal guys that we did, because we had like a 4-hour conversation that we're still putting out over the course of like 3 weeks, apparently. So really excited about that. And iTunes reviews, those are important as well. But we hope you guys have enjoyed tonight and have enjoyed seeing some of these guys. And we really want to, interest you in coming and be a part of the Strange Realities Conference. So is there anything that you want to add to that, Sir Phil?
No, just go to strangerealitiesconference.com.
All right. Okay, guys, that's it. And we will be back next week with 6 more people from the Strange Realities Conference. Check us out at strangerealities.com. And we will be back next week on Conspiranormal.